Hi, this is Mrs. Wiederholt, and welcome to my lesson video on writing absolute value equations and inequalities. In today's video, we are going to learn how to write absolute value equations and inequalities from a graph, when given a vertex and a point, and from a given situation. Now let's get started. When writing your equation from a graph, the first thing you want to do is identify the vertex. And then you want to identify a point on this graph. I've identified the point 4, 2. The reason for identifying this point is because if we know the slope of this line, then that will tell us what our a value needs to be for this equation. Now, the slope of this line is we are going to go up 2 and to the right 4. So that means our slope is 1/2 if we're going up 2 and to the right 4. Well, that means our a value will also be 1/2. Knowing that the x-coordinate of this vertex is the h value and that the y-coordinate of this vertex is the k value in our equation, we are now ready to write the equation. So we will start out with y equals, and our a value is 1/2 times the absolute value of x minus 0 plus 0. And now we can simplify the equation. We have y equals 1/2 of the absolute value of x. Remember, we don't need to show the zeros. So this is the equation for our graph. Now that you've learned how to write an equation from a graph, do you think you could write one just knowing the vertex and point, even if you can't see a graph? Let's try. The first thing you're going to need to remember is how to find slope when you have 2 points. Now, I don't know if you remember this, but it is the second y minus the first y, or we would say y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's how you can find the slope. So, the point can be our second x and y. We'll call it x2 and y2. And for the purposes of finding slope, we'll call the vertex our x1 and y1. So let's go ahead and find our slope. We will have 7 minus 3 divided by 3 minus 1. 7 minus 3 is 4, and 3 minus 1 is 2, and that simplifies to 2. So our slope, or our a value, is going to be 2. Now that we have our a value, let's go ahead and identify our h and k value. So to do that, we go back to the vertex, and the x-coordinate is the h value, and the y-coordinate is the k value. Now we are ready to write our equation. We have y equals, our a value is 2, times the absolute value of x minus h. So that's going to be x minus positive 1 plus 3. So there you go. We just wrote our absolute value equation when given a vertex and a point. Now let's move on to the last one. Now we are going to learn how to write an equation or an inequality from a given situation. Let's read the problem in blue. Girls selected for a dance team must be 165 centimeters in height with a tolerance of 5 centimeters. Which of the following inequalities can be used to assess which girl's heights are tolerable? H is the height of the girl. Now, let's reread the first sentence and just think about what this means. Girls selected for a dance team must be 165 centimeters in height with a tolerance of 5 centimeters. Okay, I can picture a girl being 165 centimeters in height. But what does it mean to have a tolerance of 5 centimeters? Well, it means that she can be 5 centimeters taller, or up to 5 centimeters taller, or she can be up to 5 centimeters shorter. So, if we were to take the actual height of the girl and subtract the desired height of 165 centimeters, she should be no more than 5 centimeters taller and no less than 5 centimeters shorter. So now let's just look at the 4 options that I have before you. These are 4 possible absolute value inequalities that we could use. Now, if I look at the first one, this is saying I need to take the height, the actual height of the girl, and subtract 5 from it. And we can look at it and say with either one of these that she should be no more or less than 165 centimeters. So let's think about that. We need to take the girl's actual height, and if we subtract the desired height, that's where we have the tolerance of 5 centimeters. So right off the bat, I can mark these 2 out. I need to take the height of the girl and subtract the desired height. And we know that the tolerance is 5 centimeters. So now we just have to decide, is it less than or greater than? Or excuse me, less than or equal or greater than or equal. So if we look at this part of the word problem, the tolerance of 5 centimeters, what this means is she can be no more than 5 centimeters taller and no more than 5 centimeters shorter. So that means the tolerance needs to be less than or equal to 5. So we have found our inequality. Now it's your turn. Read the problem in red and see if you can write the absolute value inequality. Go ahead and pause the video, and when you're done, you can play it to see if you were correct. First, I will read the word problem. John is looking for a job after graduation. The salary which he is satisfied with must be $3,000 with a tolerance of $500. Write the inequality that can be used to assess which of his salaries is tolerable. M is the measure of the salary. John is looking for a job with a salary of $3,000. It says his tolerance is $500. Now that means he's willing to accept no more than $500 over the $3,000, which is kind of hard to imagine, but it's probably because he doesn't want to be willing to accept a job that is more than $500 less than $3,000. So what we need to do is take an actual salary that he's being offered, subtract the salary that he desires, and then take the absolute value of it, and it should be less than or equal to $500. So if we write that inequality, it'll look like this. We are going to take the absolute value of the salary he's being offered, and we're going to subtract his desired salary. Now, the difference of this should be less than or equal to $500. Well, I hope this video has helped you to understand how to write absolute value equations and inequalities, and I look forward to working with you again. Bye-bye.